Hello, and welcome back to Say Yes to Chocolate podcast. I'm Dr. Becky, here with Sara B, and we talk all things aging strong, aging well, living your best life, having energy, strength, stability, maintaining your independence, and one of the key components to that is having good, healthy, strong, resilient bones.
Yes. And that's what we're talking about this month. So let's just talk about a scenario so many women find themselves in. They go to an appointment, they're at their doctor's office, they get the results from their DEXA scan, which is
a bone scan.
And you hear you have osteopenia or osteoporosis.
Yeah, and then nothing. What is that?
There's no plan. There is no explanation. Just maybe take some calcium and we'll check again in 2 to 3 years.
Or given a medication.
Or here's a medication.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And really what you're left thinking is like, is this bad? Wait, should I be worried? Am I going to be fracturing if I stay active? What do I do now? Like, is this inevitable? Can I build the bone back? Am I going to continue to lose bone? Like, there's just so many questions, right, that you have. And if this is you, we just want you to know that you're not alone. We hear this all the time at our wellness center. And osteopenia is also incredibly common, especially in women over 50.
And like you said, we really do see this all the time.
Yes.
We talk to women all the time who are healthy, they are active, they're trying to do all the right things, and they're still getting this diagnosis.
And most of them are shocked and very surprised because, quite frankly, Sara, I think unless it's been in your ecosystem, meaning you had like a mom that was diagnosed or a friend or a sister, for most women, it's not on our radar. And especially if you are in the camp where you've been health-minded for a long time and you're very keen on taking care of your wellness and, doing everything that's right for yourself. And so we hear this all the time. And one thing that we want you to know is that the problem is not you. The problem is that nobody actually focuses on bone health or has that conversation until a diagnosis is made on what actually goes into maintaining a strong, healthy skeletal system.
And really, the other problem, no one's really explaining it either. Even after you hear those words, there just is not. There's rarely explanation. There is sometimes, but there rarely is.
Yeah, very rarely. I would say way more often than not, for sure.
So let's go ahead. Let's define that. Let's go ahead and make that simple. Yeah. And what is osteopenia
and osteoporosis?
Yeah.
So osteopenia literally just means that you've lost some bone density. You're starting to lose some bone mass, and it's not enough to be classified as a disease yet. And the disease then is called osteoporosis. And we really dive in a previous episode. Go watch the T-score episode and then the bone quality versus bone density episode to really dive in at what stages the bone is actually in when you get when those labels are put on. But that's it. Osteopenia literally just means that you're starting to lose some bone mass.
So it's not a disease.
Not yet. Osteoporosis is the disease. But osteopenia is a signal. So I don't want you to ignore it. I don't want you to take it to mean, oh, I don't really need to do anything until I get to the disease. Because it's literally your body sending you a warning light. And it also is your opportunity window to prevent the disease. And I want to be very clear about that because there is a misconception out there that bone loss is inevitable. That once you lose it, you can't build it back. And we know, without a doubt, that yes, you can. So it is an opportunity window.
Yes. We really do see this is where people fall into one of two camps.
Yeah. And they're both a problem, Sara. So Mistake number one is that we just do nothing. We just say, oh, okay, well, it's not that bad. I'll deal with it later. Right? I mean, it's a warning signal, but I don't have to focus on it right now.
Kind of like an ostrich with your head in the ground, right? Like it's okay. Just continue on. Yep.
And I think sometimes that's also perpetuated with our healthcare providers, right? They're like, you're just an osteopenia yet. We don't really need to do anything about it, but we do need to watch and wait and see. We don't want to ever wait and see for a disease to form.
No.
This is your warning signal. And then I think mistake number two is the complete flip side of that. It's the panic, right? It's the panic mode. It's, oh my word, my bones are failing. I'm frail. I'm weak. If I sneeze, I'm going to fracture and I'm going to be paralyzed for the rest of my life. I need to stop doing everything. I can't live. I can't do anything. I'm frail and life has to stop.
Yeah. And we see both of this. We see this very often. People either ignoring it or people so afraid that they don't really know, that they are so afraid to live life.
Yeah, they stop exercising, they stop traveling, they stop going to their grandkids and kids' activities. They become afraid to move.
Yeah. And your bone doesn't actually respond to either of those camps.
No, neither of those responses are going to help your. So here's the shift. Osteopenia is not the problem. right?
Right.
But if you are given that word, it is an early warning system, and it's your body literally saying to you, hey, we need more support here. What you're doing isn't working for me.
Which is actually a really empowering place to be.
100%. And that's the key takeaway from this whole episode, because you have the power to turn it around. You can still change the trajectory. Even if you cross over into the osteoporosis realm, you still have the power to change the trajectory. You just have more work to do.
Okay, so let's just get practical about this.
Okay.
So if somebody has osteopenia, what do their bones actually need?
So 3 things. So we're going to keep this simple. We're going to put it into 3 buckets, right? Your bones always need, especially if you need to not just slow down your rate of loss, but if you actually want to build bone mass back, these are the 3 components. They need the proper stimulus, physical stimulus. Your bones literally need a reason to get stronger, because they are truly, if you don't use it, you lose it. Bone and muscles are use it or lose it systems in the body. And this is where most people are missing the mark, because a lot of people don't understand or have never really been taught what it actually takes to stimulate bone growth at a rate that's going to outpace our natural bone loss. So walking is great. Swimming is great. Bicycling is great. Yoga, lifting 3-pound dumbbells, they're all wonderful forms of exercise. And they're great for your heart health and for circulation and digestion and brain health. But they're not enough to measurably or to make a marked difference in bone density and bone quality and stimulating new bone growth. Lifting weights even often is not enough unless you get into like the powerlifting realm. And of course, I'm not a power lifter, never been a power lifter, and I'm certainly not going to start powerlifting in my 50s and 60s, or definitely not after a diagnosis or a label of bone loss. So your bones need, in order to stimulate new growth, that's going to outpace our natural bone loss, because let's be for real, bones are in a constant state of regeneration. We're constantly turning. Getting rid of old bone, bringing in new bone. Getting rid of old bone, bringing in new bone. And if we're clearing out old bone faster than we're bringing in new bone, we're going to lose mass. We're going to lose density, and we're going to lose quality. So they need load, intensity, and a signal, a trigger that's going to trigger adaptation.
Whew. Okay, so let's just remember that those first 30 years of our life, we're in a growth and building stage.
Yes.
We hit peak bone mass at 30. Hopefully in our 40s, maybe into our 50s, we're maintaining. But especially for women after menopause, we see that mass
Yeah, we start to see a pretty rapid decline.
Yeah.
So ideally, we maintain our bone, whatever we've built up until the age of 30, we maintain it well into our 40s and hopefully early 50s. There are some medical conditions. There are certain things that if you've gone through cancer, you've had a hysterectomy, if you have thyroid disease, and then there's certain medications also that are considered bone wasting. So a lot of times we have a difficult time, and bone loss actually starts way earlier. But ideally, you maintain that bone mass until you hit about menopause, okay? And then once you hit menopause and beyond, you are going to be in kind of a constant state of what we call a rate of loss. And 1 to 3% per year is pretty standard. That's pretty normal. But if you consider that you're losing 1 to 3% per year, just living a normal lifestyle, not really challenging yourself physically, then what happens if we provide a proper physical stimulus, right? And actually challenge those bones. Because remember, bones are always going to adapt to what you ask of them. Bones are always going to adapt to the environment in which they're placed. So our bones need to be challenged in order for them to adapt and strengthen. And that's where something like osteogenic loading or OsteoStrong comes in. And that's what we do at our wellness center. So I'm going to have you take it over from there.
So yes, because at OsteoStrong, we're able to help load the body safely and efficiently. You're always in a safe position.
Yep.
We are efficiently building bone, and it really is great because it only takes 10 minutes once a week.
Right. And you're also, especially if your bone health is already compromised, you're always with a session coach to help you with your form and make sure that you're doing the equipment appropriately. But it is the type of stimulus, the type of load that triggers new bone growth, triggers that adaptation response, so your body will start to build new bone that will outpace the bone loss, because what you're essentially telling your structure is, oh, holy cow, we're loading our bones. This body wants to stay active and stay strong. I better get with the program and start creating some new bone here. That's literally what we're doing.
And for a lot of people, it's kind of the first time their bones actually been asked to do that.
Oh, for sure. So the other bucket, we have 3 buckets. So physical stimulus is bucket number 1. Bucket number 2 is having the proper material. You cannot build bone without the raw materials. And again, we can go back to kind of the building analogy or building a wall. You can have materials show up, but if they're not the right materials, you can't build a healthy, strong, resilient structure, right? We know that with the three little pigs, right?
Yes.
You can't build a house out of straw, right? Or you can, but it's gonna fall down the minute a resistance or something is put against it. So you cannot build bone without the proper raw materials as well. And I think this is where a lot of people really just focus on one little set of minerals, which is calcium.
Yeah.
We really think if we take in a calcium supplement and we're drinking our milk or eating our yogurt, we're going to have good, strong, healthy bones. And it's just not the case. It is absolutely vital and essential, but bone is actually by volume more protein than anything else. So if you're not getting proper amount of protein, doesn't matter how much calcium you're getting. The other thing, there's so many other nutrients that go into healthy bones as well, including K2 and vitamin D and phosphorus and potassium and all of these other minerals and nutrients that you need. And if you don't get them, if you have a physical stimulus, but there's no raw materials to build that bone from, you're going to build at a much slower rate then as well.
So we're really talking about like our nutrition,
yes,
our supplement.
Yes, exactly. You simply cannot build a house without bricks. You can't build a house without your 2x4s.
Yeah. So this is what's coming into that body. What
yes,
we're putting.
And it's so much more than calcium. So, and then bucket number 3. Again, if you go back to the building analogy, bucket number 3 is the environment. So I think all of us have heard this word called inflammation, right?
Yes.
But we're going to put this into a context of the building analogy. So inflammation in our building analogy would be the weather, right? Your body has to be in a state where it can build. Just like the weather outside has to be conducive to be able to build. You can have all the materials that you want. You can have all the workers, the physical stimulus show up. But if you're in a thunderstorm or you are in a massive windstorm, it's all going to be for naught anyways, or you're going to be battling an uphill battle, if that makes sense. So your body has to be in a state where it can build. And the environment, the internal environment of your body is vitally important. It's the third bucket, and that is your hormone status, your inflammation levels, your stress levels, the amount of sleep you're giving your body, hydration, all of the lifestyle stuff is what's in this bucket.
So this is really where, as you just mentioned, sleep comes into play, that recovery, letting your body regenerate.
The importance of recovery is huge and something I think a lot of people overlook.
100%.
Yep.
And using other modalities too, like red light, PMF mats.
Oh, absolutely.
Grounding.
Yes.
Yep.
Grounding, breathing techniques. So all manner of things come into this bucket because if your body is inflamed or depleted or in a constant state of fight or flight, it's going to simply not prioritize bone building because you are going to be in a state of prioritizing literally staying alive, not staying optimized.
So this is where people start thinking, I have to do all the things and I have to do them all perfectly every single day, or it's not going to matter. It doesn't count.
And it can be so overwhelming, and quite honestly, it's just not sustainable.
It's not sustainable at all.
So we're really going to bring it back to the KISS method. We really like to keep things simple and sustainable around here.
Yes.
Let's just, the first step with this, focus on your 3 buckets: physical stimulus, materials, and environment. Know what's missing. Do just a recap of your life and see, I wonder which one of those is the biggest thing that's missing. Or reframe it and say, which one of those is missing but would be the easiest for me to change right now, where I'm at in my life right in this. 1 or 2 simple shifts is all it's going to take. And bone responds to consistency way more than intensity. So it needs to be something that you can consistently do. So one thing that's super easy is an osteogenic loading session because you can load your body that physical stimulus just 1 time a week and it takes 10 minutes. And even if you have conditions where you are exercise intolerant, things like MS, autoimmune conditions, you had cancer, you've got a bum knee or a bad back, you can do osteogenic loading. That's the beauty of it, is anybody can do it. Maybe all it's going to be is that, I'm really going to prioritize my calcium, really look at getting a calcium supplement and maybe trying to focus on getting a little bit better sleep.
Right.
That could just be it. But no matter what, I want you to understand that you're not broken. This is not inevitable. You've got either the label of osteopenia or the diagnosis of osteoporosis, but that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you or that there isn't anything that you can do. It only means that your strategy is incomplete and you just simply have not been asking your body to do what it needs to do to maintain new, healthy bone.
So what is the one thing we're going to do after this episode?
So you're not going to ignore it,
Right.
and we're not going to panic. We're not doing either extreme. what you're going to do is focus on the 3 buckets: physical stimulus, materials, and environment. Which one am I missing? Which one can I commit to? And which one is doable right now? That's it. That's where you're going to start.
And if you're feeling like, okay, I get it. I know that I need to focus on one of these, but also I need help putting this together.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do at our wellness center, Sarah, but it's also what we do in an online workshop that we've put together called the Age Strong Energy Experience. It's 5 modules, and we really focus on the key components to aging strong. And part of that, one of the modules is all about physical strength, and that is bone strength and muscle strength. And if it's something that you're interested in, at day 5 is when we put it all together. You develop the strategy specific for you so that it's something that you can take simply and effectively and without overwhelm and implement into your own life. We really dive deep into strength, stability, vitality, and recovery, which are the 4 key components to being able to age strong and age well. So if that's something that you're interested, there's a link in the show notes to learn more about that. And we would love to have you join us.
Right. And it's not actually about doing more. It's actually doing what matters most for you.
Specifically for you.
Specifically for you.
That's a big component of that workshop, is that we really dial in how to know what you need versus what your sister needs versus what your best friend needs versus what your neighbor needs, so that you know that the action you're taking is going to make a marked difference in your life.
So to be able to help you to say yes to your energy, to your life, and as always, yes to chocolate. Thanks for hanging out with us on Say Yes to Chocolate.
If today's episode gave you a win, something to think about, or even just a smile, we'd love it if you'd subscribe, rate, and share it with a friend.
Want more? Join our email newsletter so you don't miss a beat, and come find us on all the social channels at Say Yes to Chocolate Podcast for all the quick hints and tips.
And don't forget, you can always send us your question or episode ideas. We love hearing from you.
Until next time, keep it simple,